What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into episode 56, everybody. I am your host, SleezBall. Today's episode is going to be my tight end stardom sit-em for week 3 matchups, every single matchup. Before we dive into it, guys, make sure you smash that like, turn that bell on, hit that subscription button. All the support's been greatly appreciated. If you have any fantasy football questions, period, always drop them in the comments. I will try to get to them all as fast as I can. And I will also be showing my tweet stardom sit-em work from last week, so you can see the transparency of my calls. I take a top 5, my stardom is outside the top 5 overall. When I go to my sit-ems as well, I pick 5 players and I take a top 10 player out of it and make a bold call based on my research and information and stuff like that. And I got all of it out, guys. I will get my bounce back top 10 players after this today as well. And then I will be live before the game today as well. And if you guys want to check out all my rankings and all my stardom sit-em videos, they're all out before the Thursday kickoff. That is my goal on the season. And I can't thank you guys enough for all the support, man. Let's dive into it here. So here is my board, guys. In the top black box, you'll see the away team. In the bottom box, you will see the home team. Before we dive into the Thursday night game we have tonight, we finally have some football tonight. I'm amped up for the game. It's going to be the Patriots and the Jets. I'm going to show you a look back at my tweet that I made last week before the season started. And you can always check this out at My Mind as a Weapon Twitter or SleezBall FF, either one. Now, I had Colby Parkinson as a start. I figured Puka Nacua out. Even Cooper Kupp got hurt. He still didn't see the volume that I wanted to see. Pat Frymouth was a start. He was a hit. Zach Ertz was a start. He was a hit. Shoemaker was a start. He was a hit. Dalton Kincaid was barely under. The game became a run fest. He would have been a hit, but he kind of sat out the second half due to just the game being a blowout. I went 5 for 5 on the sit-ems, guys. I told you to sit the number 1 tight end from week 1, Isaiah Likely. I didn't buy into the hype from one game. Everyone wasted a lot of fab on him. I also said to temper your expectations there. That was a hit. Dallas Goedert was under. Taysom Hill, Dalton Schultz, and I said to bench both Packers tight ends if you had a chance to. We went 8 for 10, 80% week here. That was very nice. I will be showing, I've also tweeted out my tight end stardom sit-ems, everything like that. If you want to see them on Twitter as well for week 3, everything is up and done. And then I'll be showing that work at the end of, or at the start of the next video next week. Now, heading into the game here with Thursday night football, Aaron Rodgers is going up against Jacoby Brissett. Now, this game right here is going to be I had Hunter Henry as a smash start last week. That hit as well. Hunter Henry went off last week, guys. 12 targets. I mean, this guy is now a top 5 tight end of the season, and he was one of my main draft targets this year in fantasy football drafts because I've commented multiple times that I believe that he will be the focal point of this offense. That's why they paid him $30 million. He will lead them in receptions, he will lead them in targets, and he will lead them in yards. And it's coming to fruition. It was a week late, but you're going to notice that this wide receiver group they have is young and up and coming, and it's going to be they're going to lean on the veteran more in this offense the whole season long here. And Hunter Henry is going to be a start every single week for me, possibly with all the volume he's going to see. Heading to the Jets side, man, Tyler Conklin. He's out there for 90% of the snaps and just not getting any looks from Aaron Rodgers. And I don't know if it's even going to work here this week because the Patriots defense is very good versus the tight end. But, you know, as the tight end goes this season, it's been absolutely terrible. Even for us, like content creators trying to rank it, it's so damn hard. It's been such a weird tight end season. Like no one's produced. Isaiah Likely still the tight end 1. Travis Kelce, Mark Angelo, them have done nothing. I mean, it's just one of those weird years. But I'm going to say Hunter Henry is an absolute smash start this week, and I would start him over a lot of your big name tight ends because this is a great matchup. The Jets really struggle versus the tight end. We got a Monday night football doubleheader this week, and we're going to start with one of the games here. This is a do-or-die game for the Jacksonville Jaguars at Buffalo on Monday night, man. They are 0-2. This could be an 0-3 hole they don't want to get into here. Now, for Evan Ingram, we don't know yet. It says week to week with his injury, but if he's out there, I'm starting him, and if he's not out there, I'm not starting any of the tight ends behind him, so I'm not even going to put them on the board. And Evan Ingram needs a bounce-back game, and they need him back out there bad. But again, if he's not out there, which it could be right now because we're still early in the week, we don't know the situation yet, but I'm not starting any tight end behind him if he's not out there. Dalton Kincaid side. Now, here's the weird thing here. So when I'm looking at the Jags, the Bills secondary is very good, but the Bills have also given up a top 10 yardage to tight ends over the first 2 games. The Jacksonville Jaguars have only allowed 23 yards to the tight end position, but they haven't played a beast like Dalton Kincaid yet. I mean, they got the Dolphins when they played. You had no Jonnu Smith out there, and they haven't had much production against them because of that. It's still early in the season, so the numbers are kind of skewed. But Dalton Kincaid was popping off last week. His snap share has increased since last year over Dawson Knox. He is becoming the guy, and he's always a must start, especially with how tight ends are this year. Miami Dolphins and Skylar Thompson are headed into Seattle, and this one's going to be interesting here for me. So, it's hard to look at this game and predict how I like this, but I'm going to go with a no sit on Jonnu Smith. But I want to talk about it here for a second. So, the Seattle Seahawks have given up the fourth most yards to the tight end position on the season, but Tua's not out there. Jonnu Smith's snap share was at 28% week 1, went up to about 50% week 2, so he's learning the offense, getting better. He could be a nice option security blanket for Skylar Thompson in this game because, they'll probably be focusing Tyreek, Waddle, and you got A-Chain, you got all these weapons, but I just don't know how it's going to look with Skylar Thompson. So I'm interested in picking up Jonnu to see like a waiver wire pickup, keep him on your bench or something like that. I mean, you could start him if you have major injuries too. But I just can't, in my right mind, say start him with Skylar Thompson at quarterback. I can't do it. On to the Seattle side, I am not starting Noah Fant this week at all. I feel like with Skylar Thompson at quarterback, this is going to be a K9 if he's out there. It looks like he might not even play this week either. It might be a Charbonnet, and they just run him over, run out the clock game here, and there won't be a lot of passing volume in this game. But again, this comes down to Skylar Thompson. And if Skylar Thompson comes out and looks like a baller, maybe, but the Miami Dolphins have only allowed 38 yards to the tight end position through 2 weeks, so they've kind of locked it up. They locked up Evan Ingram when he was out there healthy week 1, so there's no way I'm starting Noah Fant. The Carolina Panthers and the Red Rifle Andy Dalton are headed into Vegas to play the Raiders. But before we dive into this game here, guys, I want to show you one of my good buddies. Met him this year, does great insight work. Well, I haven't met him in real life, but met him digitally, and we play in a lot of fantasy leagues together. NFL DFS picks. This guy does absolutely amazing research, diving into Pro Football Focus's analysis of what players have plus matchups for every position. And I'm going to start using these in my videos more often. Make sure you go give my guy a follow on Twitter. He is here to help you win your matchups just like I am, and he drops amazing content. And this is the best tight end matchups based off of, PFF rankings on how it's going to work per position on the week, right? So right now, when I'm talking about this game, I'm looking at Brock Bowers, right? Going up against Jewel, a plus 25% matchup, which is top 6 in the NFL this week as a tight end. And Brock Bowers is balling out this year. He's a tight end 2, leading the NFL in receiving yards as well. So if you guys want to screen capture that shot right there, get that pick, use that for your fantasy football matchups this week. It is amazing content. Now, when we're diving into the Raider game here, Jatavion Sanders, man. Maybe Andy Dalton opens it up. Maybe he doesn't. But Dave Canales' system has never favored the tight end. You can see that last year with K. Dotton playing the most snaps in Tampa Bay when Dave Canales was the offensive coordinator, and K. Dotton did nothing with it. Brock Bowers is a must-start every week. When the Raiders were in the draft and he fell to them at 13, they had Michael Mayer, and they were like, dude, how do we pass on this guy? All those 12 teams are pissed about not taking Brock Bowers right now. He looks like an absolute stud. He was the generational talent. That is a term that is thrown around too much. I don't like to use that much, but goddamn, this man looks so good, and they are just feeding him the rock, leading to targets, everything. It's just crazy. I mean, absolute smash value pick right here with Brock Bowers. You're starting him every single week. Michael Mayer, you're not starting Michael Mayer. Sunday night football matchup. The Kansas City Chiefs are headed into the Atlanta Falcons. But before we dive into the game here, guys, I want to throw a shout out to Big Draft Energy on Twitter. Does a lot of breakdowns for tight end positions and the best matchups. This is his tweet on how to look at your tight ends for a possible receiving touchdown this week. And you can see at number 1, Brock Bowers, man. Absolute smash play this week. He's also number 6 in Battle vs. PFF, which is great there as well. And if you're looking at this, Kyle Pitts has the second best matchup for a tight end chance. And we're going to talk about that here at the game right here. And if you guys want to stop the video here, screenshot this as well, you can, because this is some of the best information you could get. And tight end is very, very hard to decipher this year. Now, for the Chiefs game right here, Travis Kelce, I don't know if he's more trying to be a celebrity here with the Swifties or trying to play football, because he's done absolutely nothing this season. And now you have Pacheco out with an injury. This should be even more of like, let's feed Travis Kelce. But when I'm watching it, I broke down both the games that he's, I'm watching his routes, everything. He just looks slower, man. Looks slower out the breaks, looks slower on the turns. The only way he really has gotten open this season is when Patrick Mahomes creates a play and breaks out of the pocket, makes a long play. Then Travis Kelce has enough time to get open. He's not finding the zones. It's very scary, but it's still Travis Kelce. I can't put him on a sit-em. Even the Falcons defense and secondary is very good. You have to start this guy with how the tight end position is. And Kyle Pitts, this should be his massive breakout game. Kirk Cousins found a little rhythm last week. He only saw 3 targets last week, which I thought would be more than that. But the Chiefs, this is their weak spot. This is your smash Kyle Pitts week. He possibly could be tied at 1 this week with the matchup, and it's going to be awesome to watch on Sunday Night Football, and I like both of them as absolute smash starts this week. The 0-2 Ravens are headed into the 1-1 Cowboys, and this is a big game on the season, guys. You cannot have the Ravens go 0-3 or the Cowboys go 1-2. It is going to light the fan base on fire. Social media is going to go crazy. Now, for this game, Mark Andrews is back. It's going to be a start. Last week, I told you to sit Isaiah Likely. This week, I'm saying to sit the tight end 1 overall again and Isaiah Likely. I thought it was a 1-game blemish that the Kansas City Chiefs bracketed Mark Andrews the whole game, took him out of the game. And now you see that Zay Flowers is getting 10-plus targets in both games. So they're going to have to focus a little bit more over there now as well. And he got a touchdown last week too. And Mark Andrews is an elite Hall of Fame tight end if he never got injured in his career. And he's still only 28 years old. I don't understand why people were so high on getting Isaiah Likely. Now, if I own Mark Andrews, yes, I want the Isaiah Likely handcuff, but I'm not starting a guy that's not going to see the same amount of snaps as the main tight end. It's just not like I'm not going to start Michael Mayer because I have his backup to Brock Bowers. That's how I look at it. I don't like starting Isaiah Likely. I never did. I thought the week 1 was crazy. Heading to the Cowboys side, Jake Fergalicious Ferguson looks to be back in this game. And if you look at, say, when he got hurt in week 1, right? The guy had 5 targets in a quarter and like 4 minutes into the game versus Cleveland, which that would have already put him in week 1 as a top 10 targeted tight end in a quarter. So Jake Ferguson's volume is going to be through the roof. I think this is going to be a shootout game here in Jerry's world, and you're starting Jake Ferguson every single time he's out there. And you have CeeDee Lamb, who got banged up yesterday. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to be out there. Don't get it twisted like I'm saying CeeDee's injured or nothing like that. But he did get hurt in practice, and he's got a questionable tag right now, but I'm positive he'll be out there for this game. The 1-1 Commanders are headed into the 0-2 Cincinnati Bengals, and this is going to be the Bengals bounce back game here. Now, when I'm looking at Mike Gesicki, I'm looking at 9 targets last week. Looks like a smash start here, right? And I'm going to be like, oh, you should start him. No, we're going to put Mike Gesicki in red here, guys. Why is that? Because the Washington Commanders through 2 games have allowed 5 yards to the tight end position. Even though their defense is terrible, they don't get beat by the tight ends here, guys. Now, headed over to the Washington Commanders side, and this one drives me nuts, man. It's Zach Ertz is still out there starting. I'm just putting yellow by Ben Sinnott because I want to see him get out there and start. If he's on your waiver wire, someone you should be looking to pick up because Zach Ertz's injury history is terrible. But the Bengals have only allowed 61 yards here, but I don't think that's to the tight end position over 2 weeks. I don't think that's going to matter. Zach Ertz is still going to see 4 to 5 to 6 targets per game, still see volume, and the way the tight end position has gone, 5 to 6 points is good, man. So I'm willing to start Zach Ertz. Say if you have, Njoku injury or you're worried about Evan Ingram on Monday Night Football, you could roll out Zach Ertz, and I'm fine with that this week. The Moses and the Staff Sea of Red game right here, but we got to talk about every single game here, guys. The Chicago Bears are headed into the Indianapolis Colts, and Cole Kmet, yeah, he got a little volume last week more because you had the injury to Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen looks like he's going to be out there this week as well. I mean, it's not official yet, but I'm positive he'll be out there. He'll go back to his, 40% snap share where nothing's going on, and Gerald Everett still gets the same amount of split time. You can honestly drop these guys to the wire if you have Cole Kmet. I don't feel comfortable starting him the rest of the way unless, DJ Moore and Keenan Allen or Rome Odunze, 2 of the 3 go down. On the Colts side, I don't know if there's ever anything to talk about any of these guys ever at all times here. I mean, this is just absolutely brutal. Kylan Granson, Mo Ali Cox, Jelani Woods that went down beginning of the season. They don't target tight ends. Anthony Richardson looks absolutely awful passing the ball. And if I'm looking at the Bears, they've allowed 69 yards to the tight end position in 2 games. That's 35 yards a game. Looking at the Colts, they've averaged 41 yards to the tight end position, so 20 yards a game, and no touchdowns. So I'm not really excited to ever play anybody against these defenses right now. The Colts' weakness is the running game and the wide receivers, and same with the Bears here. The Packers are headed to Tennessee, and Jordan Love is fighting to play here in week 3, guys. After that brutal knee injury in the Friday Night Football game, week 1 against the Eagles, It looks like he's trying to get back here already. I don't know if it's smart for like his season long, but I get that the Packers are a contending team and he wants to get out there, and I love the fight that he has. But in this game still, if you're looking at the Tennessee Titans defense, which is absolutely nasty, guys, here's something you need to note. The Tennessee Titans have only allowed 13 yards in 2 games to the tight end position. So even if Jordan Love's out there, I'm not starting Tucker Kraft or Luke Musgrave versus defense. And then heading to the other side, Chig Okonkwo. I mean, Will Levis has thrown more picks than touchdowns. I know Chig got that touchdown week 1, and everyone kind of got excited. He's never going to be a start for me. The volume just isn't there, and the offense passing game just is not clicking. Even though the Packers have given up 89 yards to the tight end, which ranks them about top 12. It looks like it's a good matchup, but it's touchdown dependent, and I wouldn't do it. The 1-1 Philadelphia Eagles are headed into the Superdome to take on the 2-0 high-powered 90-plus point offense in the New Orleans Saints in 2 weeks. And this game is going to be one that I am glued to this week, guys. And the tight end position here, so for Dallas Goedert, especially with A.J. Brown out, I feel like this is going to be a smash play for him here because the Saints are weak versus the tight end, but the numbers wouldn't show it, right? Because the first 2 games, they blew teams out, and the numbers are just skewed. So they've only allowed 47 yards to the tight end position, but Dallas Goedert with A.J. Brown out should feast here because the Saints up front are very good versus the run. I think Saquon Barkley is going to eat more in the receiving game than he does in the run game this week, even though it's Saquon Barkley, who's probably my favorite player in the NFL. Heading to the Saints side, guys, just stop. I'm tired of seeing the Taysom Hill tweets and the best ball Taysom Hill and all this. This guy's not, he's almost 35 years old. He's not getting it done the same way. Jawan Johnson, I don't feel comfortable starting him. I know he got a touchdown week 1 off his injury. And it's in the high-powered offense, it doesn't run through the tight ends here, guys. It runs through Kamara, it runs through Shaheed, and it runs through Olave. And he hasn't even really targeted him. I know Foster Moreau got his touchdown week 1, too. But, if you've scored 90 points and your tight ends have done nothing, it's written on the wall there for you that the tight ends aren't startable here in New Orleans. Another sea of red game here, but it is an undefeated battle, man. The 2-0 Chargers are headed into the 2-0 Steel Curtain City Pittsburgh Steelers game here. And Will Dissly and Hayden Hurst, it just looks like the Chargers are going to pound the run. I expect this game to be a J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Najee Harris, Jalen Warren game here, guys. The Steelers have allowed 46 yards to the tight end position. They are a lockdown defense everywhere. They're probably a startable defense every single week, no matter the matchup. They are nasty. Now, the Chargers have allowed the 12th most yards to the tight end position with 92, but I don't like Pat Freiermuth in this game. I think this is going to be Tomlin versus Harbaugh and just a ground and pound field goal kick him out game. You'd be hoping for a touchdown. And they're going to lock up Pat Freiermuth because I think they're going to feast George Pickens more in this game because George Pickens finally has it. He's out of his nightmare cornerback matchups from the first 2 weeks. So I'm gonna sit Pat Freiermuth, even though he's one of those fringe top 15 tight ends. I do not like him this week. The weird game of the week, man, for the tight end position. And I don't like anything from the Broncos offense, but Greg Dulcich. He was one of my sleeper tight end pickups before the year. He's starting to get more snap share involved. And guys, he just saw 8 targets at tight end. How many games do you think the Broncos are ever going to be ahead for the rest of the season? This volume could be here in a terrible tight end position. Now, I know that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have only given up 41 yards to the tight end, so it looks tough. They locked up Laporta last week as well, but that was kind of the J-Mo Amon-Ra show. Last week, they saw like 30 targets between the two of them. Heading over to the Tampa Bay side here, Cade Otton. I can't put him on a sit-em when the guy's the number 1 route running tight end at 97%. I know that the volume is not there. I don't like him as a smash start, but he's always that guy. Like if he's on your waiver wire, you hold him in case of injury because he's just out there all the time. I mean, he led the NFL in snaps last year, led the NFL in route participants last year, and right now he's on pace to do it again at 97%, and you got to think he's going to find the end zone here at some point. And I know you have to deal with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, but this game also could get out of hand so fast, and Tampa could just blow him out of the water and be an all-run game. So, if you saw my wide receiver video, I have Mike Evans down, and I have Chris Godwin as a starter as well over Mike Evans. The division rival at SoFi Stadium is here. The 49ers are headed to the Los Angeles Rams this week, and George Kittle was tight end 1 last week, and he has a possibility to do it again this week. You have Debo out with injury. The Los Angeles Rams have allowed the 3rd most yards to the tight end position with 132 on the season. Yes, they did get blown out last week, so Trey McBride got to eat a little more in that game. But they might be in trouble all season long with the injuries they have. 4 linemen out, a starting corner out, D lineman down, Kupp and Nakua are both down. And with Debo out, it's going to run through Ayuk and Kittle in the pass game, especially with CMC gone. They're going to pound Jordan Mason in this game a lot too. But George Kittle is an absolute smash play, DFS, everything this week. Now, heading to the Rams side. Last week, I had Colby Parkinson as a smash play. You had Puka Nakua out, Cooper Kupp went down, and Colby Parkinson still wasn't even looked at. So now you go up against Fred Warner. I am not starting Colby Parkinson at all this week, even though it looks like it's great on paper because they're both out, but he's not going to get looked at the same, and I just don't like him this week against the number 1 linebacker in the NFL. Tyler Higbee's still on IR, nothing to talk about there. The bully tight end game is here, guys. The Detroit Lions are headed into the Arizona Cardinals, and Sam Laporta, man. There was a reason that I had him lower on my draft boards this year, and I thought his value was way too high. And you're seeing why. Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra, 30 targets last game. Sam Laporta only has 8 targets over 2 games, guys. He only has 58 yards. It is not going to be the same look Sam Laporta this year. I do think he's still going to be a startable tight end because you know he's going to find the end zone sooner or later here in this matchup. And this is a very, very plus matchup here. You get the Arizona Cardinals defense that ranks very, very bad defensively, and they've only allowed 46 yards to the tight end position this year, which is kind of crazy to me when I think about it like that. And the Detroit Lions have only allowed 47 yards. But these are superstar tight ends. This is going to be a shootout game. Trey McBride got to fall on a fumble last week and get himself 6 extra points to save his fantasy day and make him boost up the tight end boards, but he's going to start to get fed more here. And I think this is going to be one of the highest scoring games of the week here. And this is a matchup that I'm going to be glued to. And these guys are both smash starts. But on the Laporta side, I'm getting very worried, guys. Like, very, very worried. Like, if Jamison Williams keeps this up, Sam Laporta might be one of the most overdrafted picks you could have had all year. The grunge, run them out, pound them run game is here. The New York Giants are heading to the Cleveland Browns, and this is going to be a nightmare game for Danny Dimes. But Theo Johnson, I'm still going to keep in yellow as someone to keep your eye on here too, because his snap share is going up. It looks like he's taking the job from Daniel Bellinger, and his targets are going up here. And they're always going to be playing from behind, which you know is going to be every single game that's like 80% more volume for the pass work here. But I made a bold tweet today. Gonna be crazy, man. I said you're gonna hear the Cleveland Browns fans chanting DeVito, 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 because Danny Dimes is gonna be so bad in this game. That's why I have Malik Neighbors as my bold sit-em this week as well. If you want to check my wide receiver video out before, but Theo Johnson is interesting because the volume is gonna be there, and it's gonna pick up to the season, and they're gonna be behind, and you're gonna play rookies, man. And this is gonna be his job. So I'm interested to keep an eye on Theo Johnson. Not a start, not a sit, but just someone you should be keeping your eye on. Now, to the Browns side, everything looks plus here. The New York Giants have given up the 6th most yards to the tight end. They've given up 109 yards, but that's not how this game is going to go. Jordan Akins, I saw his 4 targets, in week 2 when he came in for the injured Njoku, week 1, and then week 2 he just dudded. So I'm not starting either one of these guys. David Njoku's still on IR, or not IR, but he's still out for another week or 2 here. Hopefully he gets back for a speedy recovery because he's a huge weapon for the Browns. Last but not least, another sea of red game here. The Houston Texans are headed into the Minnesota Vikings, guys. And Dalton Schultz, I hope you listened to me all year and did not draft him at his value that was there, because with the target share going on between Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and Stephon Diggs, Dalton Schultz is he doesn't even have more targets than Joe Mixon. So he's the 5th option in this pass game. He's seen 6 targets and 37 yards. He's very touchdown dependent. And in some of my 12, 14-man competitive leagues, he is on the wire, guys. So Dalton Schultz, I tried to say it all year, I'm not going to draft him anywhere near the value or anything like that, even though the matchup looks good, because the Vikings have given up the 6th most yards to the tight end, 5th most yards to the tight end, 123. So still, it's going to feed through a 100. That was because they played Kittle last week, man, and Kittle was tight end 1. And now you have just too many weapons out there. I'm never going to be comfortable starting Dalton Schultz unless there's 2 injuries that happen, to Diggs or Dell or something like that. And on the Vikings side, Josh Oliver, not doing it. But TJ Hawkinson, man, if you have an IR spot right now on your fantasy football league and he's on your wire maybe, or you probably dropped him, Sam Darnold looks good, guys. And when he gets everyone out there, this could be an impressive looking offense with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and TJ Hawkinson. And if Sam Darnold is on your wire, it looks like TJ might be back week 7, possibly later. He probably ramped up later in the season, because of the injury. Maybe like week 10, he'll be fully healthy. But they're 2-0, man. So these are things you should be looking at to win your fantasy football league. And Sam Darnold is 100% a serviceable backup quarterback because he's about to get all his weapons here about midseason. And if they're, in contention, say 4-3, they're going to be out there playing and they're going to be rolling, man. Thanks for rocking with me this morning, guys. Beautiful Thursday morning. We got Thursday Night Football tonight. That is it for episode 56, my tight end stardom sit-em for every single matchup. Remember, guys, smash that like, hit that subscribe button, turn that bell on. If you have any fantasy football comments, starts, sits, trades, dynasty, whatever it is, drop them in the comments. I will try to answer it as fast as I can. I have now gotten all my rankings and all my stardom sit-ems out before the Thursday night kickoff. My next video I'm going to try and get out here as well, too, is my top 10 bounce back players. And I hope to see you guys in the live stream, man. I will be live an hour before the kickoff. And I'll catch you guys in the next video, man. SleezBall out.